We acknowledge the Lenni Lenape Nation on whose traditional territory we are gathering. We recognize them as the past, present, and future caretakers of this land. Sandy, can you please call the roll?
Glenn LaPolt.
Here.
Diana Armstead. Present. Brian Canoyer.
Here.
Michael O'Donnell.
Here.
Bianca Tanis. Here. Teresa Thompson. Here. Matthew Williams.
Here.
Thank you, Sandy. Can we please rise for the pledge of the flag? Okay, that's going to take us to agenda changes. We do have some additions. We're going to add, have a motion to accept items 12, to change the agenda. We're going to be adding item 12.26, 12.27, and we're going to omit 12.25, and I'll read them out when we get to that point in the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That's going to take us to item number 4, the recognition, the presentation of the Ulster County School Boards Association 2019-2020 Distinguished Friend of Education Award. And we're going to ask that Phoenix Calmono, who is our honoree this year, please come forward to receive a little bit out.
Congratulations, Phoenix, and I'm sorry that we weren't able to have the big dinner last year due to the pandemic, but we want you to know how much you mean to us and to the community. Phoenix Calmono has done and continues to do so much for the New Paltz Central School District and the entire New Paltz community as a whole. Phoenix serves as the Community Education Coordinator for the town of New Paltz, working with key stakeholders, parents, and youth to develop and coordinate workshops, programs, and activities for all ages. Phoenix works tirelessly for the benefit of New Paltz students and tackles serious issues such as suicide prevention and intervention, mental health training, and recovery. Phoenix, along with their friend and work partner Jim Tinger, created a program at the New Paltz High School 2 years ago now called CAFE, which stands for Cafeteria Alternative for Everyone. CAFE is a space designed for students within the New Paltz High School that allows them a place to decompress, talk, do homework, play board games, have lunch or a snack, and receive tutoring, mentoring, or advice from a trusted adult. It's a brief respite from the constant activity, busyness, and drama that a typical high school cafeteria atmosphere can provide. Since its inception in 2018, CAFE has been a huge success, receiving more and more students each day, and Phoenix has adapted the space to accept as many students as it possibly can. Phoenix is a kind face to greet our students throughout the week and provides a welcoming and supportive atmosphere within the cafe and around New Paltz High School. Phoenix also has worked diligently during the pandemic, doing many programs, window painting with students to keep everyone in the community busy and happy. And they have just done a great job, and I personally am so pleased to work with Phoenix and Jim in the community. So thank you so much, Phoenix. And we have a gift for you.
Congratulations and thank you, Phoenix. That's going to take us to item 4.2, tenure recommendation instructional. Can I have a motion to accept the recommendation from Superintendent Angela Urbina Medina to grant tenure to Gregory Warren in the tenure area, Director of Health and PE Athletics, Melissa Sakota elementary, Samuel Newsom, music, Jenna Russolello, special education, Joanna Wilcox, special education, William Halpern, music, Tara James LaMonica, school psychologist, and Michelle Quattrone, school psychologist.
So, second.
Discussion?
I feel like this is a dream team of tenure candidates. That's all I want to say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we're now going to, the superintendent and I are going to come down there, so we're going to call each person up. I'm going to give you a fist pump and a certificate.
Tonight, we're acknowledging those who are at the start of their careers and celebrating others who are ending this chapter of their lives and retiring. Our tenure recipients have completed 4 years in the district, performing in a manner that warrants being granted this professional distinction. Tonight, they're receiving a certificate that commemorates their achievement. Gregory Warren. Melissa Sakota. Samuel Newsom. Congratulations. Jenna Russolello. Joanna Wilcox. Tara James LaMonica. Michelle Quattrone.
I also would just like to say, as a teacher of 25 years, tenure is a tremendous milestone in the career of any professional educator, and it's an achievement that you should be proud of, and I am proud of you for being here and for getting tenure, so thank you for the service you do for this district and for all of our children. Thank you.
Mr. Halpern is outside.
He was just here.
Oh, he was just here?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's outside again.
As soon as he comes back, okay. Yeah.
Mr. Newsom, can you get him in here?
I'm sorry?
Can you bring him back?
Yeah.
We're gonna track him down. The individuals retiring tonight represent 279 years of service, representing all aspects of the New Paltz Central School District. Several retirees are here tonight with us, and we would like to invite them up to receive a plaque as commemoration of their service. For those who are unable to join us this evening, we'll be sending this token of our appreciation from the Board of Education to them in May. Sandra Kellogg and Walter Huntoon, both bus drivers in the district, serving 14 years and 39 years respectively, will have their plaques picked up by Kelly Ritchie, Assistant Director of Transportation. Thank you. Nancy Waddell, Special Education Aide, 25 years of service. Cynthia Valdina, Occupational Therapist Assistant, 22 years of service. Ellen Alice, 33 years of service, elementary teacher. Several of the retirees were unable to be present this evening. As I mentioned, we will be sending those plaques home. Those would include Mary Holmes, Spanish teacher, 13 years, Rebecca Masters, special education teacher of 29 years, Gail Downs, school lunch cashier, 21 years, Don Bartlett, social studies teacher, 28 years, Doug Hawks, head custodian, 26 years, and Mary Lou Milano, teacher aide, 29 years. Congratulations to you.
We can vote unfortunately before.
That takes us to item 4.5, the recognition of the retiring Board of Education member, Mike O'Donnell, with 6 years of service.
So I just wanted to say, Mike, I first met you around, I don't know if you were on the board then, but it was during the beginning of the opt-out movement. And I have to say that at that time, it was you were so ready to always go down a rabbit hole and research what was going on. And even though I know that you're not a teacher by trade, before you were on the board, while you're on the board, I know that you've taught me a lot. And I think you've taught us all a lot. And we've experienced such calm leadership from you. And you've taught us that issues are always more complex than we first see. And I know that for me, you've definitely taught me patience, along with what a p-value is. And I have to say that you're always someone that is willing to listen to your fellow board members. We can call you with questions, go down those rabbit holes. You will go right there researching things and looking into them. And I just want to say thank you, because 6 years is a long time. I would estimate you've had at least 200 board meetings, probably close to 2,000 hours of volunteer service for this district. So just on behalf of the board, we wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to say something also. Well, first I'm going to read a letter that came in from Sophia. Tonight, I believe, marks the last New Paltz Central School District Board of Ed meeting with Michael O'Donnell seated among the trustees. A reality earned over 3 consecutive terms. This tenure amounts to 9 years of volunteer service to the district while simultaneously helping to raise his young family and maintaining a professional career. I have primarily known Michael as a fellow board trustee where our tenures overlapped for 4 years. I wish to recognize and praise his service from having witnessed the exceptional quality of his labor in both close quarters and in the face of public scrutiny. Michael characteristically came to the board table exceptionally prepared, generously sharing relevant research, paired with analytical skills sharpened from his professional career. What made working alongside Michael a true collaboration was his habit of respecting and recognizing where he did not have expertise, and supporting, listening, and learning from those who did. I appreciate deeply and personally his precision and consciousness for sharing and giving credit and honoring the labor of others. I saw in Michael's service a deep sense of humility and openness to both learning and acting on that learning on behalf of some of our most historically and currently excluded and least resourced families. He served with little fanfare while in the face of at times quite the opposite. Literary criticism. With great class, he refused to personalize this criticism or engage in unfair counterattacks from his position. A rare path in today's social media and public discourse. I can attest to his habit of taking in all feedback, no matter how it was delivered, and giving it a fair listen. I am grateful for not just what Michael has advocated, but how that conduct ties to the vital and ongoing work of the district and equalizing access and resources. Where I personally risk isolation for speaking up and out, I am exceedingly grateful for Michael's proactive and consistent ability to absorb the learning from undoing racism training, deploy sharp power analysis, and critically risk his own social capital to lend support to not only myself, but others who threaten the status quo to help truly fulfill the district's aspirational mission. In government, it is almost impossible not to find someone whose relationships aren't built on transaction, but fights and wins, however admirably for their lucky constituents though, withholding and rewarding influence and special relationships. Transactional conduct, real or perceived, sows distrust and resentment in the large community, undermining the larger goals of the district. Michael understands this deeply, and to me, this marks him as an exceptional public servant. It is a real joy to reflect on Michael's service and to offer praise for his intelligence, diligence, compassion, and his principled collaborative leadership. I wish Michael the very best and thank him profoundly for his dedication to the whole of this district. It was a pleasure to have the opportunity to serve with him, and I am so grateful personally to count him not only as a valued colleague, but a trusted friend and neighbor. Thank you, Sophia Skiles, former Board of Ed member 2016-2020. I would also like to say, Mike, thank you so much for everything, not only, well, mostly what you did for the kids of this district and the school board. You have been selfless, diligent public servant. You've slugged it out in the trenches at school board meetings. I agree with everything that was said in Sophia's extremely well-written letter. I would like to personally thank you for all the help you provided for me this past year. We talked, at least texted almost daily during times. So thank you for everything. You've been, when I first joined the board, I had never met you. It was, to say the least, it was tense when I came on the board, and you have become a friend. And I'm gonna miss you up here. I really am. And the community, has lost literally a tremendous person in public service. So thank you for everything you've done for all of us.
I'm going to follow. I couldn't sit here and not say anything. I met you when I decided to run for the board, and you instilled in me some things that I've kept with me. What I enjoy about you and respect about you is your bluntness, your openness, your honesty, even if it's an answer that I don't want. I appreciate it because I know there's good coming from it. And I take every opportunity for a teaching moment, and you have given me plenty of those teaching moments. Gonna miss you. I'm gonna continue to call you though when I have questions to ask, and if that's okay, I will do that. But you are an ideal board member. You are an example of what a board member should be. And I wholeheartedly respect you for that. And gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss your presence.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Bianca, did you give him the other thing? The other thing? Oh, I don't, it should be in our board email. Do you have it? I can pull it up, or I can pull it up.
I got it.
Yes.
I got it.
Oh, okay, good.
That's going to take us to item number 5, public comment. I just have one public comment that's come in electronically, which I'm going to read. Superintendent Angela Urbina Medina, New Paltz Board of Education, and community members at large. As a former student of New Paltz Central Schools, a parent of student athletes, an employee of the district, and former president of the Athletic Association, I want to personally recognize how fortunate New Paltz is to have Greg Warren at the helm of our health, PE, and athletics department. It was my pleasure to work alongside him in each of those roles, with the utmost respect for his knowledge and insight. For those who knew John Ford, he fills those shoes in a similar way, with a vast knowledge of not only the local sports programs, but an understanding of sports programs across different sections and at the state level. With many years of experience already behind him, he brings to the table a vision for great things in our district and has accomplished so much in his short time here. Hiring and recruiting great coaches, streamlining the registration process for student athletes, recognizing and celebrating the success of teams and individuals in their respective seasons, incorporating collegiate signing days, proposing and following through with the building of the Wellness Center, adding unified sports to the program, and hiring of an athletic trainer with the potential to bring so much more. He attends as many sporting events as physically possible, putting in hours well beyond his job description. Participating in conference and professional development, he is always looking to keep current in his position. Behind the scenes, there are countless roles and colleagues that he advises, encourages, and supports. Saying he goes above and beyond would be an understatement. Granting his tenure is setting New Paltz up for success. Congratulations, Tanya Santos.
we still have I believe Phoenix wanted to make a public comment.
Hi, Phoenix, come on up.
So I didn't want to leave here tonight without thanking you. I consider it such a privilege to work in service in this community. And there are names on that list that are being recognized who I've had the privilege to work with and to be honored at the same time as them. I haven't seen them in many years. So it just adds to the meaning of this honor that you've given. And I just want to thank this district because for someone like me, I've worked a long time. And this is a district that has been really welcoming and committed to working in partnership with organizations outside of this school system. And the things that I've tried to offer would not have been possible if they were not received and welcomed by leadership in this community. So I thank you because we can't, those of us who work in this community, we do what we can. That's all we do. We just do it as much as we can. But we couldn't do it if we didn't have the support of all of you and to this community. So I didn't want to leave here tonight without expressing my gratitude. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to being able to continue to serve in whatever ways I can. So thank you, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Phoenix. We also have an additional retirement recognition tonight, and that's Mike Robinson, Food Service Director of 25 years service. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. You've been that will take us to item number 6, Superintendent's reports and discussion items.
The only update I have this evening has to do with, once again, another change to the guidance from the Department of Health. As you may or may not be aware, there was an update that took place yesterday that had to do with us marking as a state 70% vaccination rate, which is great news for everyone and a cause for celebration. It has, as a byproduct, lifted the capacity restrictions for school districts, which came as a bit of a surprise today, as they relate to K-12 end-of-the-year celebrations. So tomorrow there will be an update provided regarding those end-of-the-year celebrations and what the new guidance will mean, and I think that it will be well received. That's all I have.
Great news.
Thank you. That's going to take us to item number 7, board communication and discussion items. So on our agenda we have the topic of racial equity team stipends. Anybody want to weigh in on those?
Have we gotten any interest as far as teachers or staff wanting to, we have, okay.
Yeah, so I sent out the invitation in collaboration with REACT a couple of days ago, and we have, as of today, I believe 19 people.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I believe that we will be able to seat teams in all 4 buildings.
Oh, that's great.
The individuals who expressed interest represent all factions of school district operations. So we will have teams in the buildings that are comprehensive and will reflect the context that students have with a large portion of the school communities.
That was positive. Are we gonna do like 4 teams of 4, or how?
Just for background, one of the things we talked about at our meeting with REAC was that it would remain vague at this point until we have a better idea of what it would look like, potentially based on the guidance and the work of whatever organization the district chooses to partner with. Right, and I think that's the way it was framed, like
Right.
the invitation that the structure is still being developed.
Okay.
So considering stipends right now is just a way to front load this process so that once all of that is worked out, that money would be readily available for stipends. Just for background, for people who.
Would that money come out of our racial equity budget, the money for stipends, or, because we have a budget for that, right? Sarika, do you know?
But the current budget for racial equity,
Yeah.
it's not, the stipends would need to be funded out of the Board of Education line because
Okay.
it's a committee of the Board of Education, and the current budget sits on not in the Board of Ed line, in the curriculum area. So if the board wanted to do stipends, then funds would have to be transferred, so it's not.
But the equity teams are not committees of the board, they would be the building level equity teams. That mean, are those still considered committees of the board?
Because they're working on behalf of the board, it would still,
I'm
I
actually
need more information
Okay,
about how these
right.
committees that are being formed, because initially just looking at the REAC committee as a committee of the Board of Education, but now I need more information about how the committees are working, because as my understanding is they still look like an extension of
Oh,
the,
yeah.
right, which is the board committee.
Okay. My understanding that these would be not connected to REAC, but a building level team, similar to.
I would leave it to, Sharif would know better than me, but I think once it's formalized and, for example, collectively bargained and put into the contract, then I think the way, like the controller's rules around the uniform system of accounts, the way you'd have to account for the stipends, it would have to follow the rules there. And so it wouldn't be in an equity line or a REAC style line, it would be listed as a stipend or a contractual or however else it's done in the budgeting process.
Like under salary potential, like as a salary item?
I think it would be
But
separate.
I just need more information about how the committees, since I wasn't part of the conversation, a better understanding of what these committees are intended to do and look like, because my understanding, and because I haven't been present, I don't think I have the right understanding, because I thought these were committees that were an extension of REAC. But it sounds like I'm misunderstanding how this is coming to fruition.
So one of the aspects of this discussion that requires consideration, because the composition of the committees are inclusive of, or potentially could be inclusive of, more than one bargaining unit, this would have to be a discussion that would cross bargaining units, involve multiple bargaining units. I also don't know, and I don't know if we have an answer this evening about the structure of the committee. Would all members of the team be viewed equally and hence receive the same stipend? Would there be someone who would be acting in a leadership capacity and receive a different stipend? I think that those are all aspects of this discussion that need consideration. When we met and had our joint meeting, I was asked to go back and get information about stipends and for current extracurricular activities that take place. And the big difference is that those stipends go to an individual or individuals in a co-advisorship situation. There's nothing comparable that exists in the district where we have stipends for participants on a committee. And I have concerns about what that could look like if this was established and then we needed to establish it for other committee work in the district. In my mind, participation on these teams, and those individuals that expressed interest and replied to the form did so minus any conversation about stipends, because that is a commitment that they have and have interest in pursuing that commitment and that discussion district-wide. I just have concerns about the stipend end of it, and I would not want anyone to be involved in this work who was there for other motivation. Not that the stipend would be that big, that they would be motivated to participate for that reason. I just wanted to make sure that we thought that.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it does, and I didn't think it would be.
But I'm also thinking about the policy that we have on tonight for the anti-racism policy. Part of what's the language currently within the policy is that there will be building level equity teams and that they will report out to REAC. I forget the exact time period specified, but REAC meets at night. So, we're also asking people on building level equity teams to return to the district in the evening to attend meetings, which is why I think, for me, partially is why stipends make sense. But it sounds like we have to figure out what this would fall under.
Should we wait until we hire, the company, which I would think would be acting like as an advisory company to us, in addition to an educational company, and see what they say? Maybe they've ran into these types of things before in their work, and say, how do we compensate those who are interested in, being on these teams? And I don't know, I'm just thinking maybe they have another idea, because it does sound very complicated.
Diana?
It's a lot of work, and but I think all the committees meet in the evening. It's how many know a volunteer, but part of that committee are volunteers, and so it would always seem right that then any volunteer might think the committee should be given this. Does that make sense or no?
Well, we don't currently have, I don't think we currently have teachers on our, well, if you're talking about board committees, right, we don't currently have, well, yeah, on REAC, you do have teachers on REAC. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I think that's the only one, right?
I
I'm just
see.
thinking of the other committees. There's just administrators.
I mean, this is something the district values. Now, committees, teachers are on committees. Primarily, committees meet after school. Whatever the committees are,
Right.
Dozens of committees. So then we have board committees that are meeting 3-4 times a year. REAC's meeting every other week. This is something the district values. You're asking people to come back at 6:30 multiple times a month for meetings. It's certainly a complicated issue, but I don't think we should dismiss it out of hand.
No, I'm not saying that. Yeah, but I'm thinking, does maybe whatever company we hire have
I think that's a good idea.
an easier answer, that they've come across? Maybe, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, they don't compensate monetarily, but they compensate time. I don't know.
I think that's a good idea. So maybe what we could do is wait until we hear from the two groups we're bringing in for presentations and get their feedback on what they suggest. They might have been down this road numerous times and have good advice for us.
Yeah, if there's one thing we can say, I think it's that we're open to the idea of compensating people for their time, recognizing, for example, there's a big difference between coming to a committee meeting at 3 p.m. right after your school day ends versus coming back at 6:30 or 7 in the evening, which is a much larger commitment.
I agree.
We do, and just in consideration that we do pay stipends for extracurriculars and lots of other things. So, considering that this is something we value, maybe for now the commitment to put money towards that is enough, because I don't even know how you begin to arrive at a number at this point without more information.
Perhaps a better, I mean, it kind of would be tiered, I guess, the same way as like a advisor for a club,
Right, or coach.
you know, or a coach, or, you know, clubs, however we could look at the numbers, you know, whether it be modified or JV or varsity sport,
Right,
and look at it that way, how many
Yeah.
times there's meetings, and come up with some sort of figure.
And would that have to go under collective bargaining, because it's already been collectively bargained? Like
It would have
for
to be
coaches,
collective,
yeah,
it would have to be
okay, so.
Right, and if we're talking about teams that have a composition beyond one bargaining unit, then it would be a conversation that we involve.
Right.
Which is actually is fantastic. You know,
Right,
and that's a real
yeah.
positive to have equity teams that have people from across,
Right.
you know, all disciplines within the district
Yeah.
and all areas. So that's
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Mhm. So we're going to be meeting with those groups soon, right? Next week?
I
Maybe
think the answer
that
would
would
be
be
on
like
Wednesday.
question number one for them. So have you ever come across?
On the 23rd, we're meeting with the Equity Literacy Institute and Due East, and then potentially
Steinhardt.
NYU Steinhardt, potentially that night.
So is that 3 groups or 2 groups?
Two,
Two
because
groups.
Due East works with.
It's 2 groups presenting